Hello everyone, welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we're going to be looking at Legion and doing a showcase of their unit versus either the Cortex or Armada version of that unit. So first up we have the Goblin, and he is going to be going up against a Grunt. Now the range of the Grunt is a little bit smaller than the Goblin, so he should be able to hit first. But the Goblin has a bit of a weaker shot, so, and he also appears to be a bit slower, so he's not going to really have a good damage ratio there with that. So, but the good thing about Goblins is the little amount of metal they have. You can check over here, they only cost 25 metal, whereas the Cortex Grunt costs 36 metal. So if you have a group of them, you can possibly micro them away from Grunts and get the value out of them. Next, we're going to be taking the Hades, and this is going up against the Blitz, the Armada Blitz tank. This is the equivalent of the Blitz for the Legion units. It's a little bit faster, I believe, than the Armada Blitz, but I think it is a bit weaker. It also only costs 50 metal, whereas the Blitz costs 100 metal. So we're probably going to see a significant change in the amount of damage it does. It also has a single burst shot, which actually makes it so it can possibly micro away from the Blitz. In fact, I'm saying the Hades is a bit better than the Blitz because it can get away. It's a little bit faster, a little bit more guaranteed to do damage. So I would definitely say Hades is a good exchange for the Blitz. So we're gonna set that guy aside. He is better than the Armada Blitz. All right, next we have the Napalm artillery going up against the Cortex artillery tank. Napalm is very interesting because it has a bit of, you know, it's not like a big explosion or anything. Napalm is a over time damage by just sitting there, and I don't think this the Legion artillery has quite as much range as, say, the Armada artillery, or yeah, see, he's got range on me, but I do have a unique weapon. So his best bet is going to be to constantly move, and my best bet is also going to be to constantly move, which means that we're both not going to be doing very much damage to each other. We'll just have both of us stand still and see which one does more damage. Of course, we're not really targeting the right units, it looks like, but there we go. This is really a decent unit for crowd control. It does a very large area of effect, you can see. So if you're trying to do harassment, the biggest negative is just the fact that it doesn't have a super long range. So, but over time it does a decent amount of damage, and you can see it would be really good at holding off pushes. One way I would probably use these is have them like close to your front line. So say have your front line here, and then these guys like right here, and just throwing shots of fire. Have, like, you know, 1, 2, 3 of them, and then all of them lobbing shots of fire as far as they can, maybe even 4, and then this whole area will be burning the whole entire time. And then we'll get into some other units you can use as like a longer range harassment, but these are great at restricting the range of movement for your enemy. So definitely look at using those. I don't know if I would say they're better than the other artillery counterparts for other factions, but they're decent, you know. They do a good job at holding the line. Next we have the armored assault tank going up against the Armada Stout, the medium tank. So this is a Gatling tank with 2,400 health versus the Armada 1,700 health. 300 metal on this guy versus 200 metal. So this is a bigger tank and a stronger tank that has even better range. Oh, yes, it does. It does decent. It's a Gatling gun, but it does have quite a bit of more metal cost. So, oh, he's getting in the range of other weapons. There we go. So this is a really great tank. Cortex has, it looks like the strongest T1 tanks in the game. You might even be able to take on a brute as well. Let's go ahead and bring a brute out here. One brute might end up getting him killed, but we'll see. Obviously, he's a little bit slower than the other tanks, but it looks like this guy is not firing. He's on hold fire or something. Anyway, yeah, you can see he's a pretty good tank. That'd be the core of your front line. The really big thing to note about this Gatling tank is the fact that he has such a long range of fire. So he can do pretty good harassment, especially if he's backed by some healing. He can do quite a bit of poking there, so definitely use that to your advantage. Next we have the railgun. The railgun is going to be very similar to the rocket tank for Cortex. What is it? The Lasher rocket tank for Cortex. It's about the same thing. It has anti-air and it does 27 damage. I think it might have a little bit of a longer range. Yes, it does. It does have longer range and more damage per second. The missile truck takes 150 metal, whereas the Legion takes almost 200 metal. So these are almost like a sniper, but definitely stronger than the Whistler or the Lasher. A very hefty unit. Most of the tanks for Legion are very tanky. Ironic, right? Tanky tanks. Anyway, very good unit, but it does cost a little bit more metal than any of the other factions as far as like cost per unit. But I think that comes with a couple well abusable benefits. Okay, now we got the Centaura. I don't remember how to say this. I keep saying it wrong. Anyway, up against the Pawn. The Pawn, the known victory unit of Armada. And these guys have almost the same range, but this thing is very strong. Just annihilated the Pawn like it was nothing. We'll put him up against the Centurion and see how he does against the Centurion. This guy has 150 metal versus a Centurion, which has 270, but the Centurion's not shooting at him. Okay, now we go. So the Centurion is stronger, but also has a bit more metal. I think these running hounds, the Centaur, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, I'm just gonna call them mini hounds. These guys are really quite good at like early game harassment because they cost a bit of metal. It's like 150 metal, but when you get them and you run them across, and they can just take out constructor units, smell extractors, everything like very quickly. So excellent rating bot, way better than the Goblin. Now we got the Lobber going up against the Thug, the Cortex Thug bot unit. The Lobber is a bit cheaper. It's only 60 metal versus the Thug, which is 140 metal. So he's gonna be able to he's gonna be a bit weaker. He has 30 DPS versus the Thug's 60 DPS. And he's definitely not keeping up. You have to micro him very carefully to be able to make him worth the metal there. Easily destroyed. And he's about twice as expensive, whereas the Thug has a bit more than 50 health. So I think the Thug's probably going to be better overall than the Lobber. Next we got the Ballista, the medium rocket bot, going up against Armada's rocket bot, the Rocketeer. Now the Rocketeer As, let me see, a range of, let me see, why can't I get this? He's moving too much. I can't see the range on the Rocketeer, unfortunately. But the Rocketeer looks like he has a bit of a bigger range than the Legion version. These things could fight all day. Just because of how rockets are. But the Ballista takes 160 metal versus 120 metal. So they are a little bit more expensive than Armada's counterpart. But I think they have a bit of a payload difference as well. Ugh, so disgusting to watch rocket bots trying to kill each other. There we go, he's gone. So yeah, he has a bit of a heavier payload and overall probably a better unit, but a little bit more expensive. And that's kind of the key with Legion. A lot of their stuff is just more expensive than every other type of unit for every other faction. And they just have a little bit of stronger stuff overall. We're going to eventually be getting into the T2 and T3 with Legion and just seeing what they got and doing a couple videos on that. So be sure to be looking for that. Definitely give a subscribe and we'll have those out there for you in a couple days. Next we got the Helios. Trying to think of what this would be similar to. I guess probably similar to the riot tank for Cortex, the Pounder. That's my guess anyway. I'm not 100% certain of it. It's a laser tank and it's for skirmishing, so it more aligns to a normal medium tank, but I mean, I don't know, there's nothing quite like it, I guess. And the Pounder is gonna easily devastate this thing, so not a very good unit, honestly. Just based on that interaction there, I would say don't make your front line based on that. I would rather have it based on the where is it, the armored assault tank. The Gatling is probably going to be a better option for you for your front lines. Next we have the Karkanos, my favorite unit. This thing is going to be similar to the Centurion. We could actually do the Mace and Centurion up against the Karkanos because I think the Karkanos is going to be stronger than both of them combined. This thing has dual wield weapons, able to just demolish its foes, blowing them up. Maybe not, we'll see. Oh, he couldn't quite handle two of them, but he's a very strong unit. 1v1, he's definitely gonna murder them. And then he has a riot shot as well at close range. So very cool units. And be sure, like I said, to be looking out for the next T2 version of this video, where we're going to be showcasing some of the T2 units for Legion as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you kind of got a better visual of the power of each Legion unit. And I will see you guys on the battlefield.